Start recording. This one's pre-recorded.
Oh! Hey guys, not a live show today, but that's okay because we had to pre-record because Valentine's Day and all that. So, you know.
My heart goes out to you.
Anyways.
Will you be my Valentine?
Or will you be mine?
No.
Choose
in the comments below. Yes. At the hotter one or at Rich. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Hello, everybody. So this has been a pretty interesting week for Star Wars news. Not necessarily anything like over the top. We're not talking like new spoiler or new teaser trailers,
just
like
announcements,
incredible changes. It's really just a behind the scenes change on how Star Wars is going to go forward. I'm actually pretty excited. They have taken your anger and your frustration and decided, look, let's make some changes. Yeah. So,
allegedly, we'll see.
A little bit of an update on how we're going to do this week for you guys, just so you know. Since we are doing this pre-recorded, it's going to only be 45 minutes. I know it's a Star Wars hour, but that means the next 15 minutes of it are going to be answering your questions at SW Network Tweets, right? So at us, SW Network Tweets, and we will come out with a 15-minute video later this week answering specifically your Star Wars questions. We will do the research. We will figure it out. Anything Star Wars, we will answer that to you.
Get on those tweets.
Yeah, at SW Network Tweets. We'll show that again at the end. All right, Rich. So what do we got? What do we got this week?
So many great things. And some of these things were happening the previous week, too. I know you were on a vacation last week, and so you didn't get a chance to talk about some of that. So we're going to bring some of those topics back. Guys, great news. Big news. Disney has sold Star Wars back to George Lucas. Just kidding. That didn't happen. Star Wars fake news right here.
Star Wars fake news. Star Wars fake news.
No, but they did. The big thing was that there's a few things. I'll just kind of do a blanket statement for all of them right now, at least that I can remember. Oh, man. So Bob Iger came out and said that they're making so many Star Wars. He said actually at least a few Star Wars shows for their proprietary Disney Netflix-like streaming service.
Good.
So, yeah, because initially they said it was going to be one live-action show, and it still might be one live-action show, but I think there's going to be the live-action show, a new cartoon by Dave Filoni, because Rebels is about to end, and then maybe some other stuff, too.
But is that a good thing? Are we in a world where we need to subscribe to 100 different streaming services in order to watch everything? Like, is Disney just going to pull all the other Star Wars stuff? Like, they have Rebels and Clone Wars. Are they going to make a deal so it's all in one place? Because right now, I feel a little torn. I already have HBO, Netflix, Hulu, YouTube Red of all things. I don't know what else we need to do. I don't know why Disney has decided to start their own platform.
Well, actually, funny enough, stuff like Rebels, like, it's not on Hulu or Netflix or anything. It's not available anywhere, but it will be available on this new service.
Yeah.
Clone Wars for a long time was available on Netflix, but I think that they've taken it all off now, or at least they're planning to.
I think maybe they're planning to, because I just watched something the other day.
Yeah, but
it's still there.
Now, since Disney has, Disney stuff, Marvel stuff, now they own the 20th Century Fox stuff, or they will soon, and Lucasfilm.
I guess they have a lot.
Yeah, they have a lot, and they're going to pull. Bob Iger's already said they're pulling all that when they make the Disney one. So it's like Netflix is going to be pretty much worthless after that.
Well, and that's the
Unless
problem,
you like
right?
horror films.
Well, because Disney took over all of the great stuff we'd seen that's on Netflix right now, like you have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all this other stuff. And now that they have Star Wars, Netflix better step it up. I mean, they have a lot of their original new shows are great. But frankly, just from me, if you're a Star Wars lover and you have to pick between Netflix and the occasional good, like, original series, like, was it Black Wake or Blackwater? The one that just came out, which is great. Or Star Wars on Disney, I think I'm going to go Star Wars on Disney. But, I mean, then again, I'm not a doctor.
But I don't play one.
On TV.
On TV.
Yes.
I mean, like, I'm not interested in, like, CBS On Demand or whatever it's called, or, like, any of that other stuff. Yeah. I have Amazon Video, Hulu, and Netflix, but honestly, once the Disney one comes in, Netflix is going to be dead maybe after that.
I hope it's not.
There's still enough reason for Hulu has, like, NBC and stuff, so, like, there's still a good reason to keep Hulu, but I was, like, paying attention last night on my Netflix. I'm like, the only valuable stuff is what Disney puts on here, and then that's going to go away.
I mean, as far as the stuff you watch, like episodic or anything like that, I mean, right now I'm watching New Girl on Netflix, but, I mean, don't really need that. And if Disney's charging me $15, it better not be $15.
It's going to be like $19.99.
Oh, if it's $19.99,
and they'll get away with it, and I'll pay for it.
Yeah, yes, you know what? Yes, I will. And I'm sorry, I'm shameless like that. I will dump Netflix in a heartbeat if it's. Well, you know what I might do, which is terrible, and I don't like admitting to this, but I might just do what I was doing before and only subscribe to HBO when Game of Thrones comes out, and then just call that my like monthly purchase, or depending on the price, I might just miss the whole season. I might just miss the whole season so I can watch more of the Star Wars stuff, because some of the updates we have today for you guys are showing that the things that will be coming out on this new Disney Star Wars streaming network, and just the way the canon's going to go, and the new Disney products, it's going to be good.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be good. So do you want to talk to us a little bit about what was the big news kind of in the Solo story, which seemed a little bit like fan service?
Right. So they didn't make any mention of this until very recently, but in an interview with Ron Howard and Kathleen Kennedy, they were talking about how Ron Howard's first day on set when he took over from Lord and Miller, he brought George Lucas along with him. You know, and again, George Lucas and Ron Howard, they go way back.
Yeah.
George Lucas directed Ron Howard in American Graffiti back in, the early 70s, and they've been good friends ever since. And so, Ron Howard's like, here's George Lucas. I brought him on set. It's my first day. He's the master and father of Star Wars. He's going to show me around the Millennium Falcon and tell me what's what, Yeah. And, and everyone's like, oh, okay, so, like, Ron Howard's like, all right, we're going to, like, telling him, like, my plan is to, film the Falcon in a certain way, Ron Howard doing his Ron Howard things, and George Lucas is like, oh, well, you gotta make, like, just, because George Lucas just starts talking about stuff. He's like, Harrison would always sit like this, but I imagine Han Solo when he was younger sitting more like this, like, little intricate details like that, and like, Han Solo always kept, like, his knickknacks in this drawer, and he would never hit this button before this, but, like, all kinds of all this information, and, like, he stayed for, like, 5 hours on set or something, and Ron Howard's like, whoa, cool, because, like, apparently that, like, 5-hour conversation just, like, explaining what the character of young Han Solo was, like, helped during the entire filming process afterwards. He kept going back to that conversation to help him with, like, how Han Solo would do things, and apparently that was a big game changer, because Lord Miller apparently gave him no character like things to work on like that. Well, so it kind of begs the question, like I've been saying, like, why didn't you just have George Lucas direct it? And then we could talk about, he might not direct actors very well or whatever, but maybe, like, him and Ron Howard combined,
Well, that brings up a good point. I don't know why they don't have George Lucas directly involved in a lot of these shoots instead of Kathleen Kennedy. Now, I appreciate what she's been doing. She's been doing great work. I'm not about to tell her to back off, because I think she...
Not that we have the ability to tell her to back off.
But in the theoretical world where I'm in charge of that, I don't think I'm going to tell her to back off, because I think as far as a business aspect, she's doing exactly what Disney and the Star Wars world needs, which is balancing these massive, insane budgets that George used to blow through like candy because he wanted it, with the realm of Star Wars and, the original canon and what George's wishes are. And I think we put a lot of stock in what George wants. He's getting, unfortunately, biologically to that age where a lot of his decisions probably aren't really based in what's reality or what's cool or what's new now. No offense to anybody, but I mean, he's just not... He might not be what the younger audiences want. So, like, I get what they're trying to do, because they're still tying in a lot of these older characters, and I think as long as they're doing that, as long as they're not following the story of, like, just Finn or just Rey or something like that, where they're doing the Solo movie or the Obi Wan movie and stuff like that, they really need to have him there.
Yeah. I really think that George Lucas worked best in a situation like Empire Strikes Back or the Indiana Jones movies, where he just kind of stood back, he told the story, but let a director like come in and actually direct the actors. In the case of Indiana Jones, Steven Spielberg, and Empire Strikes Back, it was, I want to say Lawrence Kasdan, but no, that was the screenwriter. It was the other, wow.
Put in the comments below.
Tell me below where you have IMDb and I don't right now, how wrong I am. Can't believe it.
This wrong. That's a lot of wrong.
Irvin Kershner.
Ah, look at him.
Took me 30 seconds to think about
that
it.
Was way too long.
George is a great storyteller. He's just not great with actors, maybe. Yes. So I really think that maybe that experience with Ron Howard maybe reminded him of that, and he's like, because...
And he trusts Ron, which is a good introduction back into this. Too. Yes.
Like, in fact, we were reading this article on Den and Geek where it says that like he was like super comfortable being honest with Ron Howard because they're such good friends.
Yeah, they respect each other.
Yeah.
Which is huge. And I think What?
No, you go ahead. You go ahead. I'm not jumping to move on to the next topic.
No, so, but with the Ron Howard and George Lucas combination, don't you think Ron might be in a position where he will, take on a few more movies? Like, I know we have some new news on what's going to be going on with the rest of the films. But do you think if the success of this film proves that, this George Lucas, Ron Howard, like, A-team style of direction and, not producer, but influence, makes a good movie, that Disney might make some more changes? I don't think anything is in stone right now.
I think that will definitely influence them to make some more changes, but I think just audience reaction to The Last Jedi is already influencing a lot of at least the things they're talking about. This news that, like, George Lucas influenced the solo Star Wars story probably would have never come out if it wasn't for the backlash on The Last Jedi.
I am so pissed. I am so mad at how much everybody hated The Last Jedi. Yeah. I thought from a cinematic standpoint to a storytelling standpoint, it's a great movie. I thought it was a great movie.
Yeah. And you can you can see all about it in our 2-part review of The Last Jedi.
Yes, on the other channel.
You
won't see about it because it's on the other channel.
But you can watch our highlights where we goof and gab about it right here.
Yes. We like to have fun here. All right, so I think that's enough about Lucas.
Except,
just kidding, more Lucas. He's back. He's back, baby.
Yeah. So this is exciting, depending on your certain point of view. So George Lucas has been spotted around traveling.
Scotland, was
specifically in, I think it was, it was like Scotland, Ireland. He was like on vacation. People saw him, and I'm forgetting exactly where for some reason. Yeah. But the point is, like, people, the local authorities were like, oh yeah, he's scouting for the Obi Wan. Somehow they knew specifically it was for the Obi Wan Kenobi movie, and so a rumor got started on the internet very recently that George Lucas was going to be directing the new Obi Wan Kenobi movie. But I kind of think false, especially in why would they drop this knowledge of the George Lucas Ron Howard thing? Personally, I think it's entirely within the realm of realistic possibilities that Ron Howard will be directing the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, and with George Lucas as an executive producer.
Well, who do they have right now for the Obi-Wan? Oh, nobody, because it's not out. Duh.
They haven't even officially announced it, really.
Yeah, well, that would make sense. I think it was Scotland, and I feel bad for not knowing.
Sorry, with apologies to Scotland.
I should have wrote it down. That's my fault for not writing it down. It was a long day. But no, I think you make a great point that would be incredible if they just put all of the spin-offs, right? Things that are truly George's. I mean, they're his characters. He created them. He worked with everybody in order to make these first 3 movies. If they gave him not the right, but the privilege, the honor of going back and making sure that their original stories are told the way he thought they would be. Not any of this extended Legends canon or any other canon. Just the George Lucas canon, how he wanted the story to be told.
If you think about it like this way, George Lucas directed the prequels where Obi-Wan was a main character. Mm-hmm. Obi-Wan is probably going to be and should be Ewan McGregor, who was the actor in those movies. And the only other prominent actor to play Obi-Wan was Alec Guinness, who was directed by George Lucas in the original movie A New Hope. He was a ghost a couple of scenes in those. But my point is, nobody knows Obi-Wan Kenobi better than George. I mean, you could argue that nobody knows any Star Wars character better than George Lucas.
It's in his head,
except for like Rey and Finn.
Right.
But yeah, Obi-Wan. It makes sense that George Lucas would have a commanding presence on that movie, especially since it's not like a goofy, fun movie like the Han Solo movie might be. Like Obi-Wan is like the most serious character in all of Star Wars. It really needs that George Lucas touch.
Well, no, that actually kind of. Let me bring up something here. The issue with having Ron Howard and George getting back into this operating like the Obi-Wan movie, the more serious tone, is exactly what we're going to go back to in a minute, which is the Solo film. The Solo film was supposed to be funny.
Oh, well, it wasn't.
But you watched the trailers. Does that look like it's going to be a comedy? I don't think it's going to be a comedy.
No, I think it's going to have a few jokes, of course. But every Star Wars movie has a few jokes.
I think it's going to be like a gritty. I don't even think it's going to be like an Indiana Jones film. I think it's going to be like, I don't know, some gritty, like, grizzled cop kind of film. It's going to have that noir kind of vibe almost.
Okay.
Which, I don't know. We'll see what happens when it comes out. But based on the trailer, it seemed way dark. which I don't know.
They could just be picking and choosing like the darkest moments, though, to show us to get away from that Lord Miller, thing.
Look, we're not him. We're not him.
So, who knows? But whatever happens, I think it sounds like at least they're starting to get on they're finally getting on this might be a good movie promotional train, instead of the we're so ashamed.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It looks great. I think it's going to...
It looks good.
I think it's going to catch the same backlash The Last Jedi did, just because...
For different reasons.
No, I think it's almost going to be the same reasons. It's just everybody's preconceived notion about it. It's just going to go, I'm so pissed. And what they're missing is just the way the story's told and how it's told and the different items they introduce. Like the crazy train monorail, insane Snowpiercer thing. Awesome. I don't know what that was about, but that's exciting to me at least. And I think that's something that they could really I think that's something they could really work with is making sure their cinematography is on point, which is probably going to be it'll probably be the only undisputed point in the Solo film.
Yeah. I mean, just the cinematography we saw in the trailer with its amazing, just again that shot of the Star Destroyer coming through the storm, with all the time. Yeah, beautiful.
Not to mention the shots of Donald Glover. Donald Glover, some people were giving some backlash that the only reason he was cast was because he's black. Because
he's also a great actor.
He doesn't look like him. No, Donald Glover's personality fits Lando perfectly. Donald doesn't even have to pretend to be somebody else. Yeah. I think they commented in who was Lando originally? That was
Billy D. Williams.
Yeah, Billy D. Williams. When Donald Glover asked Billy D. Williams, and I gotta find the article because it was great. If you haven't read it, told Billy D. Williams asked him, "Hey, what was your inspiration for the film? Where'd you come from?" And he goes, No. Just be snarky. It's pretty much just that. It was just be quick, just be witty. There's no Lando as a character.
There's no background.
No, there is no background for him. He loves money. He loves jokes. He's almost a sociopath. If you look at the films, he's got no emotions for anyone, which I think is fantastic. And so I think Donald Glover's going to come off beautifully. He's going to carry the film. I'm calling it now. All right, do you want to go on to the next thing? Or do you have anything else to say?
No, let's go to the next thing.
All right. We can save our ramblings for the end. Now, this is pretty good, which I can tell a funny story about after you introduce the topic.
Okay, so I'll introduce the topic. So, Episode 9, now directed by Mr. J.J. Abrams, will have the benefit of the art director from Blade Runner 2049, the Blade Runner sequel, Paul Inglis. And, man, was the Blade Runner sequel a beautiful, bright, and colorful movie? Derek, you got something to say?
I'm sorry, Rich. What are you talking about beautiful and bright? So this is hilarious. And I'm really upset because I did not get to enjoy Blade Runner in the theaters because when I was sitting there, me and my dad, classic Blade Runner fans, right, finished the whole movie. We walk out of there, we were like, that movie was so dark. The sound was terrible. It was too much. I didn't understand what was going on. I couldn't see anything. And then I get back here and we're talking about some Star Wars prep. And we're talking about different artists and things like that, which is hilarious that now he's here. But we're talking about what's going on. And I'm like, hey, it was so dark. Blah, blah, and I'm complaining about it. And Rich goes, did you watch the same movie? And I'm like, yeah, no, I did. So I pull up some of the shots from it and I went, no, this isn't from the same movie. There's no way. Turns out the bulb in my projector was dying at the theater. So as mad as I was then, I'm pumped now because I watched a bunch of the stills from it. That movie should have been beautiful.
There's a really out of this world moment. He's describing the movie. It's dark and dreary and so colorless. So, I'm like, what? This can't be the same film.
Yeah. So, seriously. So that being said, what would have been terrible comments on my point have since been rectified.
This is almost in your face, this is karma or something.
They're like, hey, remember that movie you hated? Yeah, he's not going away. No, it was great. I mean, the plot was great. I was super pissed. But this is going to be a fantastic addition. If this is what they want to do with Episode 9, which...
The only thing that could top this is us getting an exclusive interview with this guy. And when to explain the story again, he'll just be like... So you didn't like my film?
No, Paul.
I don't know if he's French.
Paul, it's not that, Paul. It's the theater. It's the theater. Think of the kids.
His name is Paul Inglis. 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 I don't know if that's like a French thing or something.
Parlez-vous français?
Parlez-vous français?
No.
It's just so many cinematographers and art directors and concept designers are all French. So this
is a great. He might become a prominent, which will take us on to our next news, but we're going to kind of hold on to that for a minute. This might take us into our next bit, which is. He's the art director for Skyfall, Game of Thrones, Prometheus, Mission Impossible, Children of Men, and Blade Runner. Now, Skyfall was great. I thought Skyfall maybe is an acting portion, like maybe whatever his name was.
I think Skyfall is the best of the Daniel Craig Bonds.
Yes.
Except for maybe Casino Royale.
No. It's the best. It's better than Casino Royale. Okay. Almost for sure.
I fondly remember Casino Royale, but I haven't seen it in a while.
Prometheus, holy crap. The way the scenes were shot and just how intense it made this somewhat trivial event feel. Like, it was a lot of them walking around, and the whole reason it was terrifying was the environment.
Yeah.
And I
know a lot of people don't like Prometheus, but you cannot deny how visually stunning that it was.
Yes. I'm not talking about anything else other than the way this guy does art and the way he does film, the way he sets up the tone, I think is great. Now, it's always the director's turn, and JJ's not really known to play nice with anyone, so we'll see if he gets to show his true colors, pun intended, in this. That's why I love. We'll see if this ends up getting to be something he gets to do, but I think overall it's a great decision.
Yeah. And everything he that this guy does is just like an oil painting on film. And I just am jazzed for any news like this where I hear about creative people in the industry that I recognize their work. And it's awesome. I'm excited, The only thing I can't wait to hear, what's the guy who did the Foley artists for Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
I don't know either, but
right.
I wish that he did more movies. Maybe he does. Maybe it's a she. I actually think it's two girls that did that.
Well, here's a question for you. Pun intended. Just a minute ago. Do you think Paul will bring in some of the original style of oil paintings for the scenes? Like what they used to do? They did oil paint...
like the Ralph McQuarrie paintings for the original movies.
For the original films. Do you think some of those will be used?
Absolutely.
I hope so.
He'll have to paint out every locations to give the production team the idea of what everything's going to look like.
No, but in the original, they literally shot those.
Sometimes,
some of their sweeping shots. Do you think he'll use one or two? I hope so, because those look visually stunning. It just you can't make that with CGI. It just doesn't.
Yeah,
look
some of the of course the original planets and everything. Yeah. They were the Ralph McQuarrie paintings, and certainly famously the throne room scene at the end of A New Hope where they're getting their medals. That's a painting, and they just put a few real actors along the sides. But if you look closely, those are painted soldiers everywhere.
Yep. Which I think would be. I think that would be a great addition. I think that would be fun. All right, you ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right. And next one. Yeah. Now this is something I can talk about.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you might remember a fun little discussion a few weeks ago. I know that it's kind of gotten, at least for me personally, I have my other show, Video Game Talk. If you remember Star Wars Hour back in its old Rich Alvarez days, which was like a month ago.
Yeah.
We also do a show called Video Game Talk. And, we talk a lot about Battlefront 2 and how, the disaster that is the Loot Crate scandal.
Yes.
So I keep talk about how I think that Disney is going to pull the license away from EA, because the agreement that Disney had when they gave EA the license was not a permanent license. If EA did anything that Disney didn't like, they had the right, no matter what, no money involved, to just take that license away and then sell it to somebody else. And now the rumor mill has gone crazy with Disney looking at maybe Activision Blizzard or Ubisoft to take that over. What do you think, D-Rock?
Well, now these are extremely unconfirmed hits, right?
Of course.
Nobody's come out and come up with an official press release that says, they're done, we're done with EA, blah, blah, blah. They had the whole scandal with shutting down Visceral this year, and their open world one, which... It's very upsetting. They've already canceled 2033. They've canceled this Visceral, the open world one. I don't know what EA is doing.
I think they're really trying to bum rush that Titanfall developed game. Well, the guys, sorry, it's the guys who developed the Titanfall games. Yes, they're developing a third-person shooter for EA, and I think they're really trying to get a demo for that going to show Disney before Disney makes a hasty decision here.
You know what? You could have the guys who did Company of Heroes make a third-person one. I'd play that before this garbage.
Yeah.
I'm at a point where I bought Battlefront 2. I gave it every bit of just... I try to be a positive person. I tried so hard to get into that game. I played like 7 hours. I just didn't put the time... It wasn't there. I was playing the game. There was nothing to work to. Like, I got the couple of cards I needed because I paid for the fucking loot crates. Like, I'm like, I don't need this.
I like how this article describes Disney, like the EA being called to Bob Iger's office, like being called to the principal's office. Like, all right, boys, what's going on here?
All you hear is, ding. EA, please proceed to the principal's office. EA to the principal's office. Thank you.
Out of these two companies that are rumored to take over, I think Activision Blizzard would be my choice, I guess, out of the two.
They're not going to get it, though.
But, I mean, I don't know if I'd like to see Star Wars in the hands of Ubisoft or Activision, to be honest.
I can't see the creators of Far Cry Activision worked on, what's their most recent one?
Well, Activision Blizzard, of course, the Blizzard side does all of the, the World of Warcraft and StarCraft stuff, which I like. But then
I'm trying
Activision...
to think what some recent Activision releases are that I played.
Activision does a lot of games, actually.
I'd like to see it in their hands because they put it in a different dev team. I think they could do it. I don't think Ubisoft could do it.
It's like Activision does like 20 games a year. I can't think of any of them right now because I'm blanking. But they do a lot. However, my choice, if I'm Bob Iger, I'm giving it to Bethesda, but... I'm a Bethesda fanboy, so what can I say?
I don't know how you can't be. They've come out with, you can't give it to Activision.
Yeah, Call of Duty is Activision.
God, no. If they're already trying to come up with a third-person shooter for what EA is going to do not put it in
fact, that's probably... Bob Iger's probably just looking at numbers of Call of Duty, and he's like, the Call of Duty guys, they can do Star Wars.
Let's send it to them. I heard those Call of Duty guys. My grandson plays Call of Duty.
I guess I just got excited because I know that Bethesda is working on a space title, and I was hoping that was secretly a Star Wars project, but...
I mean,
who knows?
I mean, we'll have to see.
No, I think you were joking a long time ago on an old show called... Video Game Fights that we'll never mention again. Right. That you were talking about how you thought it would be really slow for a Bethesda Star Wars game. Like if you said you were like, oh man, Star Wars like Fallout like really slow like that. I can't see that. Like, but you made some jokes that were great about.
You know what it is? Well, I mean, I was just trying to win.
Yeah.
But I think what would be great about that would be their inclusion into. I'm spacing. Sorry.
It's been a long day.
It has been a very long day. It is a good day, but a long one. It's good to see you. The issue with Bethesda, I think that still stands, but I think they have the storytellers that could do it. Oh, I would love to put it in the hands of who did the Bigsby one where you play like night vision. No, oh crap! What's the one?
That's why this is not video game talk,
right? Bigsby.
Oh, you got the Gibson guitar for some reason.
Yes, I did.
Bigsby.
Yeah, I think it's the Wolf Among Us, right? Yeah. Bigsby Wolf from the Wolf Among Us. Who? Oh crap! Who is this? Oh man, I'm so upset. I'm sorry that I just halted the flow so I could figure out what game of this is.
It's not Telltale, is it?
Yes, Telltale.
Okay,
give it to Telltale. Like seriously, if you want a good storyteller, if that's what you're shooting for, like I get Bethesda gets a kind of a good blend, but Fallout 4 got a lot of hate. It wasn't a terrible game, and the mods have made it better. But if you wanted to tell a good story, I think you give it to Telltale.
Yeah. I agree Telltale would make an excellent game. Probably not my first choice because I would like to see something like Shadows of the Empire again.
Ooh,
but I mean, hey, you could even... Yeah, well, no.
Whoa,
Telltale's fine.
No, what were you thinking?
I was thinking, like, maybe you could give it to some of the devs over at Nintendo because they might be able to pull something really clever out of their butts.
You know what they could do? Because they've crushed it with some of their Star Wars Legos. Have you played those games? They're fantastic.
Star Wars Legos is good.
They're hilarious. I would have loved to have the story writing team from the last Star Wars Legos wrote the Solo story. That would have been hilarious.
Oh, yeah. That's who does the Lego games? I think Lego is its own company now. It is. Right?
Yeah, they have their own dev team. Let me look that up.
We're so great at looking things up.
Yeah, go. Game. Star Wars Lego. Yeah, it's made by
Traveler's Tales.
Traveler's Tales.
Or at least that one was. I think. Yeah. But I do think the Lego has separated by that. I'm not 100% on that. But Traveler's Tales at least started the Lego Star Wars ones.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
No, they do a lot of the Lego ones.
Okay,
Lego Batman, Lego. They've been doing them.
Well, cool.
Yes. I think that would be fun to give them like a Rebels or a Clone Wars game.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that would be a great. I don't want to say
bring
in those external
the people that wouldn't play Battlefront 2.
Yeah, like the peripheral games. Like I think we need to move away from the shooters because we already had our good shooters and nobody's going to live up to the prior history of Battlefront.
I think that the
originals, the OGs.
I think that Disney messed up with Disney Infinity 3.0. I had Disney Infinity 3.0 when it came up, and that was with all the Star Wars stuff. And one of the Star Wars things was a big Clone Wars game, and like they had the original trilogy game, and they had the Force Awakens game, and it had all these games where the levels and everything. They were really clever. Really, this would have been a great game. Unfortunately, you had to have the Disney Infinity peripherals and all the extra crap, and you had to have all the action figures. And they made it, because it's Disney Infinity, which is like a big sky, what's the Spyro thing, Skylanders or whatever it is. So it was like that. If they had made that just a standalone game, that might have been really successful. But instead, they try to capitalize on everything.
Well, what cracks me up is that everybody's complaining about Star Wars Battlefront 2, right? Like they're like, we have to pay to play the game because I think it was such a simple solution that all EA had to do was create a very clear cut tree where if you wanted to pay to unlock something special, you would get no more hate than like the Infinity does, because you have to buy the little toys outside. That's DLC. That's paid additional content for what's already in the game when you're buying like these amiibos and stuff like that to add into your game. That's what you're buying.
It's really interesting because all of the hate related to Battlefront 2, almost all of it, is all related to the online multiplayer facets.
Yes.
The biggest complaint with Battlefront 1 was that there was no single-player mode. Then they put the single-player mode in. I enjoyed the single-player mode.
I thought it was a great... It was too short.
It was really short.
It was very short.
But I thought it was good. I was thinking, if this version of Battlefront 2 had come out like in the 90s and it was just the story mode, because guys, in the 90s, really all we had was story mode, maybe a split screen multiplayer mode, maybe. Right. But if it was in the 90s and all it was the Iden Versio story mode, I don't think anyone would have complained. Like, this is a pretty good Star Wars story.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. This is a really good game. Yeah, no one would have complained. People are only complaining because the sensationalism about loot boxes and DLC now. Yeah. It's really crazy. Anyways, yeah, so that's our little...
that's our little tangent into the realm of video games.
Yeah.
Which... I think we hit both of those. Okay, cool.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, so long story short, give it to Bethesda.
Give it to Bethesda. Yeah, seriously. It needs to be, which we haven't done it yet, and I don't think we want to get into our prediction-based. We did that for our last film. Do we want to do that right now? Do we want to get into our predictions for the...
Oh, for Han Solo?
Yes.
I think, we did that, a week before The Last Jedi came out?
You want to push that back?
Yeah, we think we want to save that for, just right before May,
So right before May, 1 week before that Solo film comes out, we will release our predictions trailer. Now, we haven't gone back, which is what we should do. We should go back and watch our old predictions, the highlights from our old prediction trailer, and see how close we were on The Last Jedi.
Yeah, we were like 50% maybe. But
maybe.
But I think next time, you guys tweet us on our SW network tweets and let us know. Should we put them in Star Wars Hour like we did last time?
Yeah.
Or should we make a separate video that's just our predictions, like a 10-minute video where we just go back and forth and do our predictions for this movie? Because I think that might be a good idea.
Yes. So tweet us at SW Network's tweets with the hashtag predictions.
Hashtag predictions.
Hashtag predictions.
If that's what you want to talk about. All right.
Oh, right.
So, man, we've gone through a lot of topics really quickly. George Lucas on the set of Solo. George Lucas in maybe Scotland.
Yeah, George Lucas kind of in everything, which is crazy.
Oh, but, we did touch a little bit on the Game of Thrones guys doing their show.
No, we didn't touch on that.
Or we didn't touch on that at all.
I don't know how we missed that at all.
I think we passed it up because I went straight to Bob Iger talking about just all the shows. Yes. But, yeah, I know that Jackie and I talked a little bit about this last week. But, yeah, of course, we want D-Rock's opinion, too.
Yes.
So, yeah, the Game of Thrones guys, they are... they haven't actually said if they're writing, directing, whatever. It says, the rumor mill is that they're at least writing and producing. We don't know if they're directing. Of course, they didn't always direct Game of Thrones. I think they directed maybe the first episode.
Yeah, I think they directed the pilot. Or
everything.
The initial release.
So there's two schools of thought with this. Either, and again, everybody's saying films. I don't even know, has films been confirmed? Because I know they said there's going to be more than one project. But does that mean film? I guess we're gonna.
I guess we'll have to see. I guess we'll see as new updates come.
I feel like if it hasn't been confirmed that it's films, then it's just as likely that they're going to make a show.
No, there's no way. There's no way. I think Star Wars has decided that the only shows that they will be making are cartoons or animated series. I don't think the Star Wars universe is able to translate, like we've seen in the Game of Thrones films.
Are you sure?
Long... Yes.
Because it was confirmed at some point, I think it was correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in October of 2017, they said that one of the shows for the streaming service was going to be a live-action show.
I don't see it doing well. I do not see it doing well. I think most of the fans, and correct me if I'm wrong, but myself as a fan, I think most of us want to see these long, episodic, emotional movies. And if you take something as powerful as Star Wars that isn't animated, it's going to seem kind of cheesy. It's going to seem kind of hokey. And it's going to cost a lot of money if you want to make it not feel like that.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to do the epic space battles. The reason they're able to do Game of Thrones under a budget that's relatively reasonable is because guess what? No CGI. CGI is insanely expensive. And so if you have a universe that is predominantly CGI, you're going to have an issue when you go to translate that to an episodic an episodic format. And Disney, all-seeing money flowing like milk and honey Disney, right? They could do it.
It might just be worth it for them just to get people to sign up for the service, I
don't know if I would sign up for the service for that. I would sign up for the service if they release all the Star Wars films onto that free platform and they're like, okay, this is where we're going to be putting our films, sign up for our service. I will not sign up for the service for a live action episodic. That is not me. I don't think that's something I would do.
Cool. Second school of thought, they're working on an Old Republic movie or movies. What do you think of that? Because why else get the Game of Thrones guys if you're not going to do an Old Republic,
Oh, man. I didn't even think about that. Rich is dropping some bombs on me right now. This is huge. That would be... Holy crap. I'm sure somebody's already done it, but all you got to do is paste over lightsabers over every time you see a sword in Game of Thrones, and you've got yourself what I want. Oh!
Brought to you by Coke.
No, it's not brought to you by that. No.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Stop it.
Hashtag want to be sponsored.
I'm going to make him blur that out. He's the editor, too. Rich, blur it. No, that would be incredible to watch just them tell these really intense... Oh, man. Like old families fighting and stuff like that. You really get into the universe. Nice.
Yeah, I think that if the plan is to finally do Old Republic and you're going to do it, this is a good choice, I think, because no one hits those political and social political, but in a fictional universe stuff better than these guys right now. I think so, and it's just it's a really good choice if this is for that. Otherwise, I don't know what they're making.
Yes, well, this might prove true to what you were saying, because this is Kathleen Kennedy's quote. She said, Dave and Dan are some of the best storytellers working today. Their command of complex characters, depth of story, and richness, pun intended, of mythology will break new ground and boldly push Star Wars in ways I find incredibly exciting. I think the emphasis on mythology there was not lost. I think they're going to do. They will not be progressing the Star Wars universe into the future.
Okay, yeah.
I'm making that call now.
That's I've seen a few other people have like really like blown up that mythology word. Yes. Like, mythology. And Kathleen Kennedy's probably just like, I was just saying it's mythology because it sounded cool, you know. Like,
yep.
No, but she she doesn't say anything on accident. I think that she was deliberate with that.
Very calculated.
It's mythology, guys.
Yeah, she is. She knows what she's doing. And then I love their response. It's in the summer of 1977, we traveled to a galaxy far, far away, and we've been dreaming of it ever since. We're honored by the opportunity and a little terrified by the responsibility, and so excited to get started as soon as the final season of Game of Thrones is complete. Good to know the final season isn't done yet, but that means it's going to be like 1,000 years until we get the final season of Game of Thrones, which is a pain. But here's some Iger quotes for you. Their interest was in creating a series of films that are Star Wars based, which I like.
Oh, okay. I didn't read this Bob Iger quote before. He said, to my knowledge, they didn't express interest in a series. Yes. That's what pretty much is confirming that these are movies then. Yeah.
Yes. So they're going to be doing it, and it's not going to be episodic, which will be great. But I think that's going to be a fantastic... Wait. Oh! Holy crap. Yeah. Here you go. Problem solved. This is going to be Game of Thrones and Star Wars. Iger literally says in the interview, focused on a point of time in the Star Wars mythology. Iger confirmed Kathleen Kennedy's statement. It's going to be a history of Star Wars. You won't see... I don't think we'll see any of the little... like followings of specific characters, or you won't see like it's not a Solo story, it's not a Boba Fett story. You're going to see the greater Old Republic. I think you called it.
So do you think this is going to be like Revan and Malak, or are we going way back to like Darksabers and like, you know, the sticks, you know?
That wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if they take it back far, but I think they'll probably sit with like Revan and Malak and stuff like that. Like at the beginning of kind of what we know Star Wars to be today.
It would be really cool to see like, you know, prehistoric Star Wars and just like it's like you know, like Lord of the Rings, like in the beginning,
yes,
there was 9 Jedis or whatever it was, you know. Yeah. I'm saying 9 Jedis because, you know, 9 elves or whatever it was.
He's projecting.
Rich. There's like the old Force thing where there's like the son and the daughter, the good and the bad, whatever it is. I've seen that episode of Clone Wars, okay? Yes. I know what you're talking about.
He's got it. All right. So, with that being said, we have come to our final to-do, right? So, in the comments, say who's hotter. Just kidding. In the comments, tell Rich how wrong he is. No, those are all the things we commented on today. But the most important bit for today, because it is a shorter Star Wars hour. I know it is Wednesday, and we apologize we cannot be here. Both of us have significant others and have to significantly other them on... oh my god. Sorry, that did not come out like I wanted. On Valentine's Day. So we apologize. We wish you guys the best Valentine's Day. And tweet us at SW Network Tweets with your questions, and we will come back with a 15-minute video answering whatever questions you got. You want something researched? We will research it. You want an answer? I'll probably give you another question, and we will figure it out.
All right, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Stars Hour. Sorry we're a little spacey today. We won't be like this next week, we promise.
Guaranteed.
Also, I got something special coming out for you guys here on Friday.
Oh, get ready. I was in it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.